Hey everyone, happy Monday and welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Today, Mr. Rafa continued working on the red buggy here. We've been trying to get the motor pretty much done, finalized, so on here. We're waiting on some parts that we got at the end of last week, and so he went ahead and put all that stuff on today. So let's see what happened here. So the exhaust is kind of the obvious one. The owner had bought a uncoated tri-mill just like this one, but uncoated originally because whoever he bought it from told him that it wouldn't fit a 40 horse. And so we were expecting to have to chop it up and make it fit a 40 horse. So we bought an uncoated one, the thought being we'll chop it up, make it fit, and then have it ceramic coated. But we test fitted that uncoated one and it actually fit really well. So they're letting him exchange it because, you know, we just basically test fitted on the motor. We didn't run it or anything like that, obviously. Anyway, so yeah, so he went ahead and picked up the coated one, and so Rafa put that on today, and it looks amazing. And it's actually the exact same one as on that buggy. So they have matching exhausts and they have matching sparkly steering wheels. So kind of fun seeing the similarities and the differences between these two buggies. Anyway, so that went on today, and a chrome don't get you home chrome plated 009 distributor. Yeah, it looks nice. You can say what you want about chrome distributors, but you know, it actually, this motor has just enough chrome on it, I think, that kind of dresses it up without being too sort of obnoxious, because on a buggy, I mean, the motor is just out there for you to see. So yeah, just a few, I think, kind of well used chrome bits here and there, and I think it looks pretty sharp actually, without being overwhelming with the chrome. So there you go. So that went on, and the billet filler, and I don't remember what else. Those were the main things on the motor, you know, around the spark plug wires and so on. The other kind of big thing he was working on today was this this air cleaner, which is original to this buggy. And these were, I don't really remember the company that made these, but I think they're kind of made for like industrial motors, maybe tractors. Normally they have sort of a mushroom shaped inlet on them here. The owner, they never had that on there, and he kind of remembers having it like this open, so that's how he wants it. So yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's very sort of, again, industrial looking, but you know, he's trying to maintain some of the things that made this buggy what it was back in the day, even though it's looking totally different. I mean, it was sort of like piss yellow before, and it's going to look amazing now, but yeah, still kind of retain some of those things that they remembered that were kind of unique about it. So today Rafa was messing around getting it to fit. It had some big ugly bracket on it that was just had way too much going on. So Rafa sort of like cut that bracket down. We're going to put like some kind of rubber spacer between the bracket and the body. And then what Rafa did was he actually welded studs into this plate here, which go down. There's 3 of them. They go down through the body. And then we'll put lock nuts on from underneath. Again, it'll be like probably a half inch or so kind of tough rubber pad between this thing and the body, so it doesn't gouge the body up, because, you know, it'll vibrate some. So yeah, that was kind of a fun little project for Rafa today. I can always tell when he's having fun. He actually ended up staying late because he seemed to be enjoying excuse me, himself, and he wanted to kind of get this to a good point. You know, with the studs welded in it and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, and then the owner brought by some various elbows and stuff like that, hoses that we think we can piece together a connection between the carburetor and the underside of this thing. Luckily, the carburetor and this thing both have the same size orifices on them, so the hose should pretty much easily go from one to the other. The hose that was on here, again, you know, you got to keep in mind that these buggies pretty much were always built in people's yards or garages or whatever. This is what was on it, connecting the carburetor to this very same air cleaner. And I'll just leave it at that anyway. So yeah, we're going to do something a bit more sophisticated looking and cleaner looking. So that is basically what happened on this buggy today. So yeah, motor's really coming along here. The thing I have to do, my homework is we bought the spacer that lifts the carburetor up, because again, this carburetor is made for a 6-volt car, smaller generator. This is an alternator, of course, but it's the same size as a 12-volt generator. So regardless of whether it's an alternator or a generator, if you go to 12 volts, these carburetors don't clear, so they make a riser plate, riser adapter, which is way too tall. It's like that tall. We need about half that. So I'm going to take it home probably and chuck it up in my mill and chop it down by about half or so. We already figured out the actual distance that we need there, just because it doesn't need to be that tall, and it's this big chunk of aluminum, and it'll look kind of hokey if it's that tall. But once we cut it down to about 1/2 inch or so, you probably won't even notice it sitting there under the carburetor. So that's sort of my homework. Don't know if I'll get to that tonight. Probably not, but soon. So anyway, so what did I do today? So I worked on this beauty here. This is, of course, being the 67 Beetle that we're doing a full restoration on. And the paint on the body and the fenders are done. We didn't end up painting the doors or the underside of the hood or the deck lid today, because we had some other projects going on painting wise, and then it was going to rain this afternoon. So we're going to finish the painting for this car tomorrow as far as those last few pieces. But you can see the front fenders here. We painted those already. Again, the underside of the fenders are getting undercoating, as are the fender wells on here. Save the customer a little bit of money on the restoration by doing undercoating instead of doing like full paint and body underneath these areas. He went ahead and cleaned them up and shot some paint on them, but there's still sort of like the original undercoating and stuff on here. But we'll clean it up some more, undercoat it, and it'll look amazing. And same thing with underneath the fenders. But anyway, that being the case, today I went ahead and pulled out the transmission and completely disassembled the rear brakes. So that stuff is all ready to clean up and then send out for powder coating. Went ahead and removed the torsion bars and the spring plates and all that stuff. So that stuff's ready to clean up and powder coat or paint, whatever the case may be with each part. And yeah, so this thing is pretty much done back here as far as being ready to undercoat. Probably still pull off these brake lines, which obviously will get replaced. But yeah, this is all kind of stripped down back here now, so we can, again, yeah, go ahead and do all the undercoating under here. So yeah, and everything's kind of bagged and tagged and so on, so organized. So when we go to start restoring individual parts, it's all organized. Like, we have to be organized around here. We've got 10 pretty big projects going on in the shop, and if we're not organized, it's a disaster waiting to happen. So you can see our shelves over there. Shelves are labeled with customers' names, so we keep stuff straight, because again, it would be impossible to keep all these parts straight if things aren't organized and labeled. So I think tomorrow I'm probably going to do the same thing on the front of this car. His front end is pretty gross, so I think what we're going to do is not really try and bother cleaning up the front end and undercoating it. We're going to go ahead and, at least, I mean, on the car. So obviously we're going to clean it up. But I think the best thing to do is, because it is so gross, is we'll go ahead and pull off the whole front end and then put the front of the car on a dolly of some sort. And then probably like pressure wash this thing first, and then take it and have it sandblasted. And then, of course, it'll get new seals. We'll have the ball joints replaced, those type of wear items and stuff like that. But yeah, so tomorrow the front end will come off, and then at that point, the car is going to be ready to have all the undercoating done. We'll do all up underneath the pan, up underneath there, and so yeah, no, it's going to look good. And then once that's all done, then probably I'll go ahead and start thinking about getting a wiring harness for this car, and yeah, start putting it back together actually. So that's kind of exciting. That's when it starts to get more fun. once paint and body's done and we can start assembling it and restoring parts, then that's when the real fun begins. So looking forward to that, because this is going to be a really nice car. One other small thing that happened with that buggy today is we finally got the vinyl and the foam and so on for this buggy's interior. And I think our interior guy, who's one of Octavio's guys next door, I think he said he's going to start on the upholstery for this buggy tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully that will happen. There's some more foam and stuff up there for it. So yeah, hopefully these seats are going to start going together tomorrow. So that is pretty exciting. Okay, so for real, I think that's it for today. No Jacob today, poor guy. He wasn't feeling well, so hopefully he feels better soon. But just Rafa and I today. And the only other thing I didn't mention is we did also paint the door on the turquoise bus that came in for some little minor touch-ups and stuff. And for real, that's it now. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.